How does one of the biggest pop stars in the world lose control of her own life? At the peak of her fame, Britney Spears had everything most people only dream about: global success, millions of fans, and a career that helped define an entire generation. She was everywhere. Her music dominated charts, her performances captured attention, and her name became one of the most recognizable in the world. But behind all of that success, something wasn't right. Because for years, decisions about her life, her career, and even her personal choices were no longer entirely in her hands. So what really happened? And how did one of the most powerful celebrities in the world end up in a situation like this? Let's get into the full story. Before we continue, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more real celebrity stories. Fame secrets revealed. Britney Spears didn't just become famous. She became a global phenomenon almost overnight. From a young age, her talent was clear. She had the ability to perform, to connect with audiences, and to stand out in a way that very few people can. When she entered the music industry, everything moved fast, very fast. Hit songs, iconic performances, and worldwide attention came quickly, and within a short time, she became one of the biggest names in pop music. She wasn't just successful, she became a symbol of an era. Her influence reached millions of people across the world, but with that level of fame came something else: pressure, constant attention, and expectations that never seemed to stop. Every move she made was watched, every decision was analyzed, and every mistake became headline news. There was no privacy, no space to slow down, and no opportunity to live a normal life. At first, it didn't seem like a problem, because success can hide a lot. But over time, that kind of environment begins to take a toll, and slowly, signs of struggle started to appear. Public moments that raised concern, situations that drew more attention, and a shift in how the media and the public began to view her. Instead of focusing only on her music, the conversation began to change. And as that happened, the pressure only increased. What many people didn't fully understand at the time was how intense that environment had become. Imagine trying to live your life while being constantly watched, judged, and discussed. Every decision you make becomes a headline. Every mistake becomes a story. And every personal moment becomes public. That kind of pressure doesn't just disappear, it builds, and eventually it starts to affect everything. Then came a period that changed everything, a moment in her life that would become one of the most talked about chapters of her career. Everything escalated quickly. Public incidents, intense media coverage, and growing concern from people around her. This wasn't just about fame anymore. This was about control and decisions that would shape the rest of her life. Soon after, a legal structure was put in place, a conservatorship. At the time, many people didn't fully understand what that meant, but what it did was give others control over major aspects of her life: her finances, her career decisions, and important personal matters. What many assumed would be temporary continued for years, and that's where the story becomes even more complex. Because during this time, Britney Spears continued working. She released music. She performed on stage. She remained active in the public eye. From the outside, everything looked normal, successful even. But behind the scenes, the situation was very different. Because despite being one of the most recognized celebrities in the world, she didn't have full control over her own life. And that's what made the situation so unusual. Fans began to notice. They started asking questions. Something didn't feel right. And slowly, awareness began to grow. People wanted to understand what was really happening. They wanted answers. And they wanted to know if Britney herself was okay. As more people began paying attention, the conversation expanded. What started as curiosity became a global discussion. This wasn't just about a celebrity anymore. It became something much bigger, a conversation about control, about independence, and about the reality of life behind fame. How could someone so successful have so little control over her own life? Why had this situation continued for so long? And what was really happening behind the scenes? These questions became louder, and the more people asked, the more attention the situation received. Then something changed. For the first time in a long time, Britney Spears began speaking more openly. Her voice became part of the conversation, and that shifted everything. Because now the story wasn't just being told about her, it was being told by her. And that made people listen in a completely different way. The situation was no longer just speculation. It became something real, something personal, something that people around the world could connect to. And as that happened, the pressure surrounding the situation increased. Because when a story reaches that level of attention, change often follows. Britney Spears' story is not just about fame. It's about what happens when pressure builds over time. It's about what happens when control shifts away from the person living that life. And it's about the importance of being heard. Because sometimes the biggest struggles are not the ones we see on stage. They are the ones happening behind the scenes, quietly, out of view, but still very real. In the end, this story is not just about one person. It's about something much bigger. It's about understanding the reality behind fame and recognizing that even the most successful people can face challenges that the public doesn't fully see. If you enjoyed this story and want more deep celebrity breakdowns like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Fame Secrets Revealed.